birthday with some edgy sound. Blades. Okay. Well, I did run into this sound by accident. It's in 05 My Sounds. This is not in the factory patches. This is called Nice Pad Move. And when I go to the manager, it's in this here. So for some reason, yeah, it's very nasty. Very nice sweep. Of course, it uses a filter. And I will make this one available as a single preset in the info section below the YouTube video pod. And I'm not sure where it comes. Oh, it's having a Vox filter. I can see, but it's not active. This is weird. Let me see. Why does it make this sound? How is it produced? Because the filter is not active. So it's really done using the harmonics. So let's go to it down here. Here we see the harmonics dynamic. Let's see what happens. Ah, cool, isn't it? A pad from scratch, yeah, that's a good point. This is the waveform. Now I see what is happening. So it sounds like a bandpass filter, and you can see it here also. But what is the XY is addressed to, it's to the timbre, and it changes the bass frequency. I think it's this one. So if I click on the XY, it's now bypassed, and when I open the bass, then most likely we will hear the sound. So it changes the fundamental. Nice, isn't it? So very cool sound. I should finish it off by what I thought is would be cool is to have a I need to go to the pitch band that is up here. Here's the play mode, and then we have the up range. I will go for 12 octaves, and what I also could do is in the modulation matrix, I could see the modulation wheel, that it changes also the bass frequency. So and then of course I need to put it on active. Well, this is a totally different concept. It has a harmonizer. That's Blade. We work of course on Blade 2. It has a bit of a delay because conversion of the presets from Blade 2 into Blade 2 causes a bit of a some little bugs we need to correct, because Blade 2 will have some different features, and Blade is a very different concept. Instead of hearing here a filter, it's the so the basic idea. Essentially, also you can see here the spectrum here. If I shut off and I play this note again. This is sounding like a saw wave, and instead of using the filter for changing the harmonic content of the waveforms, the basic idea with Blade was to change the waveform harmonics. So now the bass harmonic, which is in the harmonizer, is moving up. Still, you can have a spread 3 harmonizer, which means this is 3 oscillator spread. It's possible, so it's still having 3 oscillators with the spread type 3 harm, and you could also pick 2 harm, so you get a multiple oscillator sound is not a problem with Blade. Yeah, well, I did run in this very nice preset, and let's finish it off. So in this case, I need to save the preset. Here we go, save preset, nice pad move, save. Yes, I also need to save the bank, save bank, because it's the older system. And the older system has a bank with 20 128 presets. So if you go to the bank manager here, you can see a lot of empty programs. That's because that's coming from the original hardware system, where one bank could have 128 presets. Maybe you have an older hardware synthesizer or a newer hardware synthesizer. Each bank has 128 presets. Just for instance, in the what I have here, let me see. Oh yes, in the EMU, for instance, Proteus 2000, one bank was 128 presets. So therefore, yeah, you see a complete bank and then with empty presets. So there are some other sounds. Yeah, it's a very special synth. It's also nice, huh? So maybe save this one also, save preset. I need to catch these also, of course. Maybe this one is already in the factory patches, but that I can check later on. Save bank again. Okay, yes. Okay, let's go back. And then what I did is adding the pitch bend, because that's a nice thing to do. So I go to these nice pad move and I play it again in the music and watch the pitch bend, what I do, because these are little things which you can do also in your own synthesizer, increasing the pitch bend to 1 octave. So I'm playing here from the start. Use the pitch wheel again for moving again because you see the bass frequency goes down, pitch down, and now I move up the pitch wheel. There's also little other sound, so I just was playing a bit of music. You see, this sound is also interesting from Predator 2. Reverse sound. And this one uses the saw up, which is controlling the filter. I can see it's saw up, tempo synced, and this makes this typical sound, which you can hear here. Let's check the chat room, because some answers, questions, which I need to answer. So not some answers pop up, but some questions pop up. Yeah, it's not yet Blade 2. That will be a bit later on. I'm just playing with Blade, and I want to show you a few little things with Blade, the original one, which you also will find in the Blade 2, to explain the timbres. There are timbre waves, which are waveforms, but also timbres and how they work. Now, Blade inside Reason rack extension, that will not happen. Of course, the problem is that for sure with Blade 2 we'll have multiple pages, just like here. Predator 2 has many pages, and this simply doesn't fit into this rack format, because the rack has a limited size and limited height. So not every product we can create a rack extension. And to show you is, for instance, if you look on Predator 2, there are many controls, and if you compare this with B.I.T, which is about the same size, even bigger, you see a lot less controls. So B.I.T did fit in the rack extension, so it's also available as a rack extension. So it really depends on how the concept is of the synthesizer, how many parameters, and there is also a max of parameters inside rack extension. So a punch 2 with over 23,000 parameters would never fit because there's simply not enough room for it. Let me see. Another question. Yeah, I will show the Timbre. So another news is, of course, yesterday I posted on YouTube the video about sample pads. So we had last week the live stream, which I did in the live stream, which took 1 hour. I talked about the sample pad and what you can do with it. And you see, it took 1 hour. And now the tutorial is very compact. It's about 15 minutes, even with little locator positions we added to it, which I found out how this works, or in this case, Mike found out how this works. So in the lower line, you can have particular locator points for the video, for instance, for the split or the alternate mode with the sample pad. So check out this sample pad video. You find it in the playlist of Punch 2. It's called Sample Pad, and it explains all the cool features inside Punch 2 and its sample pad. Okay. So let's see. Yes, VST3 for Reason. Yeah, well, in Reason you can use VST 3.0 maybe, and 2.4 for sure, maybe already 3.0. Yeah, Blade, it takes a bit longer. Sorry for that. But it's worth waiting for, so don't worry. Okay, so let's go back on what I did. So this was a very nice sound from Predator 2 using the filter LFO with a saw wave up and its tempo sync. And it really makes this very odd reverse type of thing. So okay, let's play this one solo. Sounds like a reverse sound, but it's not the case. It's simply a 2-pan side pad. It's in the EDM and dance bank. There you can find a 2-pan side pad. So it's in the bank manager. Here you see it. Okay, so there's one question about creating a pad sound. Sure, we will do that. There is, by the way, a video about Bluetooth, creating a pad in Bluetooth. We added there also the locator positions. You need to search it. It's one of the earliest live streams. I think it's also inside the playlist of Bluetooth. I'm pretty sure it is. So look in the playlist of Bluetooth and you will find a very interesting live stream, also 1 hour, about creating a pad in Bluetooth. Now this sound is not a reverse sound, it's the LFO creating it. Somebody is... So if you see here, this is filter LFO. If the filter LFO is not only filter, and I see there's much more working, so let's see if there is anything else a bit working on this. Aha! Here's an LFO. Let's see if there is one active. Not really. So there's more working. No, that one is bypass. I still hear the... So somewhere is again, it's more of this modulation, but where it is? Here, let's see. The filter LFO is modulating also the volume. So here's the filter LFO modulating the volume. So if I click here, I can bypass that. Then it's a normal sound. Yeah, it's a curved LFO. It's a LFO which has a saw up. So for you, it would be like this. So now only volume and only filter. And that makes this cool sound. Of course, you need to adjust the amount. So when I click here original, we can hear back again the original one. So you see, I need to investigate what we did in this. So Yeah, then there's this question about lead sounds. If I use one, no, with our old band, the pitch range is normal, so would be I normally use I think +3 or -3 for pitch band. Let's see, we can start up B.I.T. Where are you? There are some basic lead sounds. When I go here, go to synth leads, Attic Moogie Attic, which is. So here you see, and the pitch band, you need to go to the play mode, and you see here, band up and band down 3. So if I play, and I really, it's of course a spring inside of it. So it's really a dynamic parameter to use. So, but it's personal. Some people like it a bit deeper. So yeah, it's up to you. And you can go even 48 semi, which is ridiculous. Let's play it. A bit too much, isn't it? Yes, so I'll put it back. Sometimes you see that the pitch band is off, but then, for instance, the pitch band is used for controlling the XY movement, which is a very cool thing to do. So if you don't use pitch band, use the pitch band for something else, which you see here in Blade. Let's go back to Blade. So you see it's a very long movement for more than 2 bars. And here is speed control, and here I could select and also pitch band for changing the speed. But in this case, in this preset, it is on the pitch. Yeah, the solos in Peru, I'm always, it's always a sweaty thing. It always takes a few takes before you have the feel. And in the past, of course, I used the a lot of Minimoog, which is behind me, but this it doesn't have this spring like this one here on this keyboard. So pitch band is there a bit more tricky. Okay, so there's one thing which I like to do a bit later on is talking about making a pad. We'll do that. And but first, I want to show you something about this harmonizer. So we had this sound which I played. On go to a program 5, it's just empty. It's very ugly, and you can see if you have this the wave output here, you can see what it does. So bass changes the bass fundamental harmonic. The range essentially is how much the volume of the harmonics are, and symmetry, it's hard to hear, it's between the waves, the symmetry. Then we have timbre. You see, that's of course very different. So with these only already you can do some typical things. So now it's in neutral state, this timbre. I put the range here. You can odd and even, because if I have only odd, you have a square. So if you have a saw waveform and you make only odd, then you have a square. Okay, and now I talk about the timbre, because timbre is different than timbre waves. Timbre is really, so if I go here, it changes. If you then change it, different way the harmonics. So go to the next one. So sometimes they sound the same, but the changes are different. So this sounds like a pure sinus. So weird, isn't it? So changing the bass from timbre 1 has a very different outcome than changing it from timbre 3. And this is also will be also the case with Blade 2 will have the same system. And the cool thing was, so this is of course the brilliant work of John Ives, because essentially the idea for Blade was, while jogging, I had this idea, hey, that would be cool if we would have an XY pad, which not only changes the filter, but the harmonic content of this waveform. And now it's possible, with the recent CPU power, it's possible to do these kind of things. So, and then the cool thing is, and of course you can record this, you make a recording here. So Blade was also the first one which had this recordable XY in our product line. So at a position you can make it on visual. Of course the other have a button for making it visual, and here you need to go to the right menu and select here visual. And then you have all kind of preset things. So also spiral in, and then you say 4 times a spiral in, okay. And of course now you see it moving, but so you see now it changes these harmonics. Okay, let's sync to a 1 bar to make it. And this is of course for the Y movement, and if you go to the right, is it for this other movement. Now if you change now, because this is not a very exciting sound, but if you go now to a different, no, it's not very exciting, but just to show what it does. You can do some weird. It sounds still from the bass like an organ, isn't it? Okay, you can also use. Now you think, oh wait, this is nice, because there it's not nice anymore. So then you stay here and you record it again, and then you play it. Then you get some weird sounds. So these are the timbres. So very different changes to the harmonics, different modulation of the harmonics. You can loop it. You can make it smooth here a bit more. Okay, no, that's the wrong one. I need to have 2 bars. 1 second. So that's of course the difficult thing is of course to create nice sounds. So it's far more experimental compared to. So this one doesn't do on the range. You see this one, the influences are different. On the bass, it doesn't change it because this is a more aesthetic waveform. So the timbre are really different. Timbre 16 really different compared to the other timbre waves. Weird sounds, isn't it? So set to circle, let's see. So now, yeah, you see it's a totally nonsense sound. When I go here, nice. When I go to the introduction bank, then you see, once you have a nice setting, you can create some very interesting sounds. 1 second. So it's with Blade, it's a very experimental synth. Sometimes it's trial and error. And when you have something nice, stop, save the preset, because you can, by little change, it is totally a different sound. I stay with the presets, else my brains gets blowing out of my head. Yeah, it's but it's gonna be a very cool synthesizer, this Blade 2. Somebody is asking for a screenshot of the new one. I think let's see if that could be possible, because one page we have ready. So give me 1 second, guys. I need to open something. So here, this is a big mess here. Blade 2. Then I go to another folder. Aha. Yes. So okay, this is the Premiere. So here you see, this is gonna be this is the first initial design. So okay. And then you see we have the harmonic display. We have here the XY, which is the same. We have the filters on the right side with a graphic envelope, amplifier, 3 FX we will have. And then here in the middle section, you can toggle between XY, ARP, harm modulation, a wave analyzing waveform, play mode. And then you see here, this is the harmonizer, but we will also have an additive mode. And the additive mode is currently open. And what happens with the additive mode is that you have in the 4 corners 4 different waveforms. So it either works in the harmonizer mode or additive. And additive, you can morph them between the 4 waveforms. Now, then we added an additional oscillator to give the sound. Sometimes it needs to have a bit of body. So it adds a classic oscillator is there and a noise generator, which is great for having tuned noise, that kind of things. So yeah, so this is going to be Blade 2. You see the top section is what you know from the other plugins. You have here the node, you have the bank manager, the easy page will be there. So this is going to be the new Blade 2. I hope you like it a bit. Let's see what people say. Yeah, the curve, you can change the attack curve also by using, if I'm not wrong, control. But in the play mode, you also can have the, how you say that again? The curve setting for the decay release. Then, of course, the arpeggiator will be fully here. 32 steps, ratcheting will be there. You can use 1 step for the XY position of the XY. So this will be the design for Blade 2, and it's more, I think more. The original Blade was maybe a bit too much over the top, and this is more than yeah, different in the way it looks. And still will be an experimental synthesizer, but yeah, it generates sounds which are different, just like the sound I play. It's simply doing some very nice typical sounds. So keep an eye. In October we hope to release it. We still have a lot of work to do, and yeah, let's see if somebody has oscillator part. Yeah, the oscillator part is essentially has also unison, so you can really make a sound which has this bell on top with a body from a pad below it. So yeah, of course, once we are getting closer to the release, I will hopefully can play already some sounds, and I will have the easy page, which is also inside the original Blade. Let me see. You see, it's very much different. It's easy page is here, in which This was interesting. The easy page is very interesting. So you don't have to go deep. And if you change this whole easy pages, even if you store it, it's even stored. You see 2 affix inside the original blade. The other one will have 3 affix, and of course the increased quality reverb code which we have. So that was on the lower side. Okay. It was here, FX1, FX2, FX3. You can have it in serial. Well, let's make it a bit bigger. You can have it in serial mode, parallel mode, and then another mode which you can combine 2 FX after each other and one next to it. So here you see more controls. You have then also the control for XY, like space quantize, time quantize. Maybe you know this from Go 2 or Predator 2 or from Bluetooth, which these parameters were not yet in the original blade. So yeah, so this is the essentially the initial design. It's not a screenshot because this is what our graphic designer Hans van Even created to show us what we are getting. And finally, we need to add the dials, and then of course all the labels should be then corrected. And so yeah, the biggest difference is essentially, of course, that you also can have an additive mode, and yeah, do the vector between these 4 additive waveforms, or just using the harmolator. Yeah. Okay, guys. So you saw it already. I hope you like it, and okay, I'm checking here. So somebody asked for making a pet sound. So which synthesizer you have in mind for the pet sound? So I'm not sure, because the yeah, the user-friendly layout is of course still a synthesizer which is not as easy to use from the start, like let's say a B.I.T or maybe Vecto or so. So I'm checking here the chat room. Which synthesizer should I use for the pet sound? Just let me know. Okay. Okay, so a pet sound with blade, that would be possible, sure. Let's see how that will work out. But what for pet sound? So a more yeah, pet sound, it can be a classic string pet sound or more a digital pet sound. Use Predator 2, Blade, Predator, Blade, or Bit. Okay, let's see, because you're talking about blades. So let's go here simply to, I go to the my sounds, take an empty one. Let's see if I can make a nice pet sound, which is a, okay, now I'm gonna see, I take one Timbre 16, see how that one. This sounds very digital. So we could, okay, I'll make it pet sound. Of course, you need the amp envelope for pet sound. Slow attack. Sustain always open with pet sound because you don't want to have this. The pet needs sustain 100%, a bit of a longer release. And of course, this is digital, and then now we need to have a kind of movement to make this sound cool. So what I could do is simply set to circle, then it makes a circle here. I will play. I sing this to 2 bars for slow movement. Loop is on, and then I need to see what would be interesting to change the sound of it. So this one is, oh, this makes even the sound go away because these are only odd. Yeah, I could use ripple. Ripple makes a kind of ripple width does change the sound. So I go for the Y movement. Okay, that changes it. And I also could do maybe harmonics. And the harmonics I could do here, you see all the harmonizer model destinations are here, so harmonics. So it's a bit too fast for me, so I make it 4 bars. Now it's too dry, too thin, so I could use here the spread. So now it starts to get interesting a bit. And then, okay, so I'll make it a bit longer. Then, of course, to finish it off, it's affix, very important. I could use a chorus or even use and then a nice stereo delay. So this is more a digital pad. It's not bad, isn't it? So I saved this one. I saved preset. I make a call it Timbre pad. September 1. Timbre pad September 1. Hey, here we go. Save also the bank. And then I'll have an idea. So I'm pretty fast with sounds. And you see, if you have a now what I could do is use, to improve the sound, I use the pitch band here to control the speed. So when I use the yeah, the blue lights. We had a cat. She's gone, unfortunately, and she found these little dots interesting. Save preset. Okay, sorry for that noise. So I'm saved it again because I added another thing to it. Another idea which comes to mind, because now the filter is used, I could shut it off. This could be without a filter, because then we maintain save preset, the higher harmonics, because even if the filter is fully open, it always filters a bit. So and save preset. So this one version as a pad with a blade, so more a digital type of pad. But I had the idea about adding a notch filter, because the notch filter can add a kind of zzz sound to the, let's see if that works, 12 dB notch filter. And of course, Blade 2 will have far more. Yeah, it's not really effective. No, it doesn't do much. Let's see if another filter can do anything. A Vox filter. Yeah, that makes a bit different sound again. So it's a bit different, and by changing here, maybe, let's see if we can do some other stuff here. Taking another timbre. No, this one was. No, the other one. Now you see how much the ripple makes a ripple in the waveforms. I can show it a bit later on how it works. So odd even maybe could be interesting, or changing the bass. This makes it really move in an odd way. Yeah, the bottom maybe we could have a sub-oscillator, which is here. So without sub, let's see if... I'm not sure, maybe with sub it's better. What do you guys think? Yeah, so there's two paths with, I need to save this one, save preset. This is number 2. So I make this available in the download section of YouTube. So if you, in the info section, I mean, and then you can download it. And in the case you have Blade, you can load in the presets. And it's maybe a good idea that you load them into a bank. So, because this one uses a bank system, so I need to do this here. So and load in. Let me see, load. Maybe I should load in the whole bank. So now I do load preset into this bank. So see, nice pad move we had. That's a very dirty sound. This one we should delete. So delete. Yeah, that one was nice. Okay, so these 4 presets, I will also upload the bank. Then you can copy the bank to the bank folder, and no 05 my sounds would it be for you, or simply you would have the single presets, and then you need to load them here into one of the banks you like to have. And then don't forget to save the bank, because now you see I change it, so I also need to save the bank again, otherwise this bank is not changed. Okay, so and if you want to add them to another bank which maybe has some empty spots, yeah, let me see, Syn2. Yeah, here for instance you could load them into Syn2. So you go to Syn2, you load the preset, and essentially you could load all of them. You see, here they are, and then you need to save again the preset bank. And then you have them. So that will be if you would download them later on. Because if you don't save it, watch what happens. So go back, then they are gone again. Because it's one bank with 128 presets. Okay. So this is about Blade. And you see, already Blade has some very interesting sounds. It's not an easy synthesizer, but some sounds it does so great. It's... And of course, yeah, we have some good sound designers like Jamal who also create some great presets. So we had this pad, so let's play them again. This was pad 1. And then we had the second one. So you see multiple dots, which means because you see mode here is polyphonic, so each note has its own movement. Cool, isn't it? Okay, let's go to B.I.T for making a classic pad sound. Okay. I must start a new track. Otherwise, I have the wrong. Okay. So I go here to B.I.T. I go to the default preset. Here we go. So we have two types of creating a pad sound. It can be a saw. Somebody said the bit can't make the sound of Blade. No, definitely not. Blade is totally different story. And there are two ways where you can make a pad sound. For instance, on a Jupiter 8, for making this really mellow carpet sounds, I usually use the square waveform with modulation, pulse width modulation. And so here we have an LFO built in, and I can go here to symmetry. You see here the movement. Just like it's a bit like a chorus, isn't it? So now it's going to be a pad sound. Of course, it needs to be the same, and that's the cool thing with oscillator 2 and oscillator 1. If I'm not right, I can copy the settings of oscillator to the other oscillator. And of course then, what I mostly do then is having a different setting for the second oscillator. So the LFO is a bit different in speed. It's too much, so I close this one. So the modulation is too obvious. It's like almost like doing a what do you call it again? Filter back. You get a more sound. You know, this had also one oscillator. You could have the LFO for symmetry modulation. You put on the chorus. And you have a sound. But I use this symmetry modulation, which you can see if you close the advanced page, for making a pad. So shut down the oscillator, and then I need to find a nice match. For a pad sound, 12 dB is nicer because 12 dB leaves over a bit more harmonics, which makes that the sound gets a bit more silky. So if I make with the Jupiter 8 a pad sound, mostly I use 12 dB filter. It has a switch, 24 dB or 12 dB, and then you have a... So now there's no envelope, because you don't want to make a sweep. So no envelope function. So now you see it already starts. And I go to the advanced page. I make this modulation a bit. Can use also this one, which was single LFO. If you use not free, it's multiple LFOs, which is a bit thicker. So that's oscillator 1, oscillator 2. It's too much. Oh, one, this one on the volume. That's of course not okay. It should be on the symmetry. And then you combine them together. No, it's too straight, so I need to detune them a bit. 1, 2. So one trick I do sometimes is I go 1 -6 and the other one +6. You see in the upper screen, here's the readout. So the fine tune is in the readout. If I go with the mouse over it, 6 cent plus, and in oscillator 1, it's 6 cent minus, which keeps still the general tuning. Okay. Okay, a bit loud. Now you see, if I play higher, it's getting a bit muddy. But therefore we have key tracking, because the cutoff frequency is nice maybe on this key, but you need to tell the cutoff frequency to move up because the pitch is moving up. So therefore we have key tracking. I put it on. Now there it is already a pad sound. Now it's always nicer if you have a bit of delay. What a progression. How was this track from Moby again? So yeah, you have that sound. Then of course, this would be one kind of thing, save preset as. So I will make it also basic PWM pad. Save the preset, and of course here you have the modulation wheel, and that's always nice. So this is the but here I'll finish the sound a bit. I go very fast to the manager. So this would be a pad sound set category. Pad sound. It's very clean. Has a bit of FX, poly mode, modulation. Okay, and of course you can go wilder. Use the chorus. Of course, you can make it spacey if you just use a very slow attack and long release. So this is more a sweet pad, this is more spacey. So just by changing the attack time, very long release, increasing a bit of the stereo delay, you can make it really no reverb, no. The long release makes that you feel there's a big long reverb, but it's also the delay. So without delay, so really this the release makes that you think it's a Yeah, nice, isn't it? So this I would call more, say, save preset as space. Okay. Yeah, it's indeed the trick is release, and reverb also could be a possibility. But it depends on the sound. Sometimes I notice with delay, because if you have a song which has a pad sound and on top of that a lead sound with reverb, that one jumps out more instead of having also the reverb with no, the pad sound with reverb. So in contrast. Are there any plans on making MPE compatible? There are plans, and essentially we had the plan to have it with B.I.T. I discussed this with John. Then we would have not a play mode, not only poly, mono, legato, and R, but also MPE, which means that each note has its own pitch band, and the pitch band range is already there. So it's the case that with MPE, each note you play, you can have pitch band. Now pitch band is over the whole sound. So if you play a chord here, and I go pitch band down, nice sound, by the way. When you go pitch down, all the notes go down. And with the MPE keyboards, this Rolly keyboard, which is here in my studio, I have a Rolly keyboard. It makes that it's not really a keyboard, it's rubber, and you go with your finger over it, and then you can do some vibrato. So that's something which is in progress, and we would like to try it out with a B.I.T. But yeah, currently we are busy with the development of Blade 2, but it's on the radar. Okay. Okay, guys. Yeah, we're almost at the end. I hope you like it a bit. And yeah, if you missed the live stream, or maybe you're a bit later, you always can watch it back in the playlist live stream. If you like the live stream, give it a thumbs up. And of course, you can subscribe. I always mention that we have the live stream each Thursday on the same time. I mentioned it on Twitter, Facebook, and of course in the community section of YouTube I also posted, and that seems to pop up also. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and yeah, of course we had a bit of a premiere with the Blade 2, how it will look like, and it's great to notice that you guys like it, and hope to see you back next week. Stay safe and enjoy creating music.